For urgent action against Syria, as President Assad's regime denies accusations that it massacred more than 100 of its own people. Very much, Daniel Sanford in Moscow and in
What are the questions that Mr. Blair faces?
The Ministry of Defence has named a British soldier who was killed in an explosion in southern Afghanistan on Saturday. He was Captain...
Congratulations all round.
6:10. Here's Sally with all the sport.
We've had some West Indian style weather recently, haven't we? Haven't we? Yeah, it's been great fun watching the cricket. Actually, it's all been happening here. And
Absolutely brilliant. Rebecca, thanks very much.
First on breakfast, our very own BBC Breakfast Bee.
Launched for the first time on air.
Now, Alex is being bugged by flying creatures of a different kind.
Yes, he's in North Wales. Poor old Alex. I mean, lovely to be in North Wales, but we mean about the bugs, really. Excellent.
We've got some. We've got some. It's not working.
Oh, OK. All right. Thanks very much, Alex. See you. Those are the main stories. Steps at hairdressers this morning, reporting on how the UK's service industries are coping with the economic downturn. She'll be with us in about 10 minutes, which reminds you, Mr. Seven.
Back to our main story this morning, the international condemnation of the latest violence in Syria. More than 100 people, including dozens of children, were killed in the shelling on Friday.
Well, the Foreign Secretary William Hague's in Moscow today to talk to one of Syria's closest allies, Russia, about what should happen next. Special Envoy Kofi Annan from the United Nations due to visit Damascus today. What can they hope to...
And you have family back in Syria. In fact, your family has suffered, hasn't it?
Yeah, we live just outside Damascus and...
helped out by anybody else who will help them.
That's correct. And he's...
Yeah. And when a massacre takes place like the one in Hula, the Syrian government says it's the work of terrorists. Does that have any credibility with you whatsoever?
Certainly not.
Because it seems, amongst all the atrocities that have happened in Syria, Friday's events have really caused outrage.
That's correct. I mean, this is not the first massacre.
And thanks very much indeed for coming in to speak to us this morning.
Thank you.
That takes us to 6:43. You're watching Breakfast from BBC News, and it is... The former Prime Minister Tony Blair will face questions over his relationship with the Murdoch empire today. He's due to appear before the Leveson inquiry into press standards.
Let's get more from our political correspondent Robin Brandt. You can see Tony Blair's appearance before the Leveson inquiry on the BBC News channel from 10 o'clock this morning.
Now, the Ministry of Defence has named a British soldier who was killed in an explosion in southern Afghanistan on Saturday. Environmental campaigners whose camp was raided by the police just before the royal wedding are beginning a judicial review of the action at the High Court today.
They claim the police misled a court in order to obtain a search warrant. Our legal correspondent Clive Coleman reports.
A chilling drama about the serial killer Fred West has won 3 of the biggest prizes at last night's British Academy Television Awards in central London.
Other winners included the actress Jennifer Saunders, who won her first BAFTA in 20 years for Absolutely Fabulous. Steph, thanks very much. Thank you.
If you're a young person who wants to start their own hairdressing business, you might be interested in this. Young entrepreneurs in England will be given access to more than £80 million worth of loans to start their own businesses, whatever that might be, in a new scheme launched by the Prime Minister today.
It's hoped about 30,000 new businesses will be started up by people aged between 18 and 24.
The entrepreneur James Caan, you'll know him of course from Dragon's Den, is involved.
Stuart, you were 19, I think, when you started your first company. How much money did you need to start up?
Well, telecoms, I needed about £10,000, but...
£5,000, James. What do you imagine people might do with that? And critically, if you're giving to, young, obviously inexperienced people, how do you make sure they use it sensibly? James, I suppose we need to put, the criticisms of this scheme to you as well. The Federation of Small Businesses say schemes like this look great on paper. Do they ever come to much? It would be better if the government focused on cutting red tape. And Ruth Lee from the Arbuthnot Banking Group says, young people, could they suddenly run a business like this? They could lose quite a bit of money. It would be better to advise people to stay. 18 minutes past 7. Still to come on the programme this morning, homelessness. Let's go to Alex Deakin, who's doing the weather with BBC Spring Watch for a look at this morning's forecast. And was I right, Alex? Is the sunny spell about to come to an end?
They're enjoying me.
Wouldn't want to fly straight away, would you? I mean, we don't exactly spring out of bed in the morning.
The bee was enjoying warming up on her hand, wasn't she? Yeah. And now she's having a breakfast.
There's no sunshine either, you see. If the sun was shining, she'd be up and away.
She's not in any hurry.
She'll be right. Good.
She's just chilling out on some leaves there.
Right. Rebecca, thanks very much. Still a marvellous shot, isn't it? Eh?
And what you don't hear is Bill's commentary throughout the report, because of course you are our resident sofa bee expert.
Well, beekeeper rather than expert. Still's got my breakfast this morning.
We're going to buzz off for a moment, though. Time now to get the news, travel and weather where you are. See you in a moment. For them all.
Those are the main stories. Steph is at the hairdresser's this morning, not getting her hair done, but finding out how the UK's service industries are coping with the economic downturn. She'll be with us in 15 minutes. And, speaking of haircuts, who's coming later?
The Scissor Sisters.
I
felt like a test.
I didn't know. All right. Oh, speaking of tests, yes.
That's an interesting comment made there by that young woman, saying that when you're described as homeless, it comes with all sorts of sort of images or prejudices, perhaps, in people's minds.
Exactly.
At which you find yourself without a permanent place to live.
Drift people to stay anywhere that they can without being officially homeless.
Exactly. And
perhaps thanks very much indeed for joining us this morning.
Yeah, speech, from what you've heard, do you feel encouraged, or do you think that this is a problem that is really a hidden problem? It's on BBC Three this evening at 9 o'clock.
Do you believe financial experts say one of the best ways to check on the state of the economy is to look at how frequently we're getting our hair cut?
So we sent Steph to a hairdressing salon to find out what. Working hard, are you, Steph, or just getting everyone else to work hard around you? I just can't get in them.
Come on, breakfast. Speaking of royalty, we've got a rather special guest. Actually, I think she's arriving now, isn't she?
Is she? Oh,
yes.
better be. And 8, a chilling drama about the serial killer Fred West has won 3 of the biggest prizes at last night's British Academy Television Awards in central London.
Other winners included the actress Jennifer Saunders, who won her first BAFTA in 20 years for Absolutely Fabulous.
8, still to come on the programme this morning.
Right. It's 20 minutes past 8. Steph's been finding out this morning it's the services we provide, not what we make, that's driving growth in the UK. She's at a hairdressing salon for us, and you're the third scissor sister, really, aren't you? Look at that. Oh, yeah.
State, our next guest, regularly.
During the rehearsal, you've picked up something that's very useful for Her Majesty. I think it was one time when you were walking past. Have you ever been mistaken for the Queen?
Well, only in the last 2 weeks, actually. Since Saturday, when I was in the press, even coming through the airport, everybody was saying, "Good morning, Your Majesty." So it's quite funny, really.
And have you ever met?
No, I've never met her. I've been near.
Coming up, BBC News Channel will bring you.
Lance Price, who was a senior member of Mr Blair's communications team at 10 Downing Street, told us this morning he doesn't expect much to be revealed during today's hearing.
Lance Price. The Ministry of Defence has named a British soldier who was killed in an explosion in southern Afghanistan on Saturday.
An investigation has been mounted into the death of a 25-year-old man who died rescuing 2 children from the sea in West Sussex.
Young entrepreneurs in England will be given access to more than £80 million worth of loans to start their own businesses in a scheme launched by the Prime Minister today.
Those are the main stories. Here's what's coming up later. Sally, thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. Being a restaurant critic could be considered one of the best jobs in the world. You get paid to eat great food. Someone else picks up the bill. It's not all delicious food and wine, though.
No, because it's not always great food. Food critic Jay Rayner says sometimes the meals he eats are far from being a pleasure. And he says people want to hear about the horrible ones. So much so, he's released an ebook of his worst experiences at the dining table. It's called My Dining Hell. And he joins us now.
My Dining Hell is out as an ebook now.
It's coming up 9:15. Our next guests might be from New York, but they're going to be in the thick of this summer's Olympic celebrations in London.
They're the Scissor Sisters. They describe the UK as their spiritual home. They've certainly been massively popular here since they came on the scene back in 2004. We're going to speak to Jake Shears, an animatronic from the band, in just a moment. Here's a reminder, though, of one of the tracks that made them such a hit.
Yes.
So what are you doing? It's in July. What, you're going to be performing?
We are.
The Scissor Sisters' new album, Magic Hour, is out on sale today.
It's all action down at BBC Springwatch this morning.
Yep, they have got the wildlife to contend with, and the midges. Oh, and Alex Deakin, he's a pretty wild guy himself.
You causing trouble, Alex? Oh, we're just giggling with the sound of the Supremes. The music of the Supremes influenced a whole generation as the sound of Motown took off in the 1960s, and they had hits with tracks such as You Keep Me Hanging On and Stop in the Name of Love.
Yeah, now those hits live on, performed by the sounds of the Supremes. Karen Ragland brought the group together. She's here now with you in a moment. First, let's have a listen to the original Supremes.
That was Baby Love from the original Supremes, the sound of the Supremes, Karen up.
All from us. Tomorrow we're speaking to two of the members of the Military Wives Choir, some more singing.
Now, though, to play us out as promised, the sounds of the Supremes with Stop in the Name of Love. Have a great day.